Good evening, Drew.
Hey, there he is.
There I am. Hi.
How was Bandad stuff?
Oh, it was good. It was good.
Yeah.
It was the so every year in this, I guess in February, they do a joint eighth grade and high school band concert. The idea is to try to get as many of the eighth graders to stay in band so they join marching band come
Mm.
summer. Uh, and it
So
was
it's a cult.
yes, exactly. It
Okay.
was a big
Okay.
cult meeting. Uh, Lots of pentagrams. It was pretty awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it was a great concert. I really enjoyed it. So thank you for recording on a Saturday with me.
Oh, buddy, I'd do anything for you.
Mhm.
I'd do anything for you. Um.
Yeah,
So okay,
hold on.
Zach is. Oh, hold on.
No, no,
Okay.
I'm moving this one up. Okay, here we go.
Okay. You're excited about that,
Uh-huh.
huh?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Um. So Zach is what, a sophomore?
Sophomore, yeah.
So he's kind of becoming the big band boy. Like
He's a big band boy. Yep.
there was a time he was that timid eighth grader sitting with the high schoolers
Hmm.
wondering if he could be the marching band boy,
Yes.
and now he's there telling them
Yep.
to carry on.
Yep.
Yeah, circle of life, huh?
Circle of life. Yeah.
And there you are, proud band dad that you were in the band, and you're a good dad.
I try. I try.
One little quick piece of follow-up. Um, Last episode we had a listener question, cowards, about where John Kruger was.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if you're on Twitter, but John Kruger tweeted at us both and said that he's still here.
I did not check Twitter at all. So
Okay. I don't know if he listens or if someone told him that we were talking about. But he wanted us to know that he's still around.
okay.
I'm gonna try to have lunch with him soon, but he
Okay.
is extremely gettable for the
Okay.
podcast.
Yeah, we should get him on the show for
We should
sure.
totally get him on the show. I love John Kruger.
Yeah.
Um, so we're gonna go into video game land for a little bit here,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because there's another topic on here that I think will probably kind of creep in. Um, so the short, I'm not gonna bury the lead here. I finished Elden Ring.
Okay. That means you beat the final boss. I assume there's a final boss.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I'll get more into detail about it, but I had a self-imposed goal to complete Elden Ring before the end of the month, because when we get to the end of the month, which is going to be this week, there's going to be some new Destiny content that has been a long time coming, and that will take up a very large portion of my time. I was still playing Destiny, but I had tapered off quite a bit, and I was playing Call of Duty with friends of the show, Eric and Arthur, and then uh, splitting that time between that and Elden Ring. My goal was to get through a playthrough of it before we get to the next Destiny crap that's going to come out this week. So I played it. I played it a lot, and you know, it's hard to recommend it as a game.
Okay.
Because it's clearly not for everybody, right? Like, I want to tell you to play it. I really want you to play it, but I know that you won't.
I won't. No.
Yeah. It is a very, very good game. It is unapologetically obtuse. And I didn't understand half the things that was going on in that game till about halfway through it. If someone were to sit in front of me and say, "Drew, I'm thinking of playing Elden Ring," I would have definite opinions about how you should go about it. And I bought the game on sale around Christmas time, and I was like, I'll put it in my library because I'm picking it up on sale, and I will get to it eventually. And I started playing it. I was thoroughly confused. I didn't understand how, like, the RPG-ness of this game worked. I didn't understand how to level up correctly. I didn't understand the mechanics, and I didn't want to have to play this game with a Wikipedia or like some sort of wiki open on my other monitor. I did not want to do that. I wanted
Makes sense. Okay.
I
Yeah.
wanted to hop in the game. I wanted to go around and hit stuff with swords and feel good about it. And
Okay.
it wasn't until about halfway through the game when I started to understand the right way to fight and how weapons work and how stats work, and sort of what the game does and does not tell you is when my eye, the curtain was sort of pulled back and I understood this game for what it was. And if this game has won so many Game of the Year awards, and I'm just thinking to myself, do people not know this is a Dark Souls game? Like, I get it. Like, those
Right,
those
yeah.
games have their fans. I get it. And I have never liked Dark Souls of any variety. I've tried to play them all and I just cannot do it. But I gotta tell you, like, this game was really something special.
Hmm.
I'm there are multiple endings. You cannot easily save scum and get multiple endings. So if I want to see other endings, I will have to play through it again. I would tell you that it is, if I could boil my complaints down in that game to one thing, it has nothing to do with the combat. It has nothing to do with the obtuse lore. It has nothing to do with all of the different systems and what you're supposed to figure out almost through trial and error. It's that there is the concept of doing quests in that game, but it is so incredibly easy to miss them, and it is incredibly easy to fuck them up and get locked out of them.
That okay.
Yeah. And
Hmm.
I got an ending. There's like, I think I read on the Wikipedia afterwards because now I'm going back through and reading about all the stuff that I didn't do. But I did manage to get the quote unquote secret bosses. Just because I would have missed it, right?
You
I
had a
would have
Sherpa.
gotten, yeah. Well, I had a mini Sherpa. I had a Sherpa at the beginning of the game that co-opted with me to help me get used to the game, and then he wouldn't outright spoil things for me, but he would basically tell me like, "Oh, go, that place you were at before. Like, I know it doesn't make sense for you to go back there, but you should go back there and check that out again." And I'm like, "Okay." And he wouldn't tell me exactly where, so I kind of had to run around and figure it out. Um, but it's so easy to miss some of the quests. And like, there's one boss that if you're on TikTok at all, or you're on Twitter or Instagram at all, and you've ever seen Elden Ring memes, there's one boss that is like incredibly difficult. And she is entirely skippable and optional. And had someone not pointed me to this one very particular thing that I needed to go do, I would have completely missed her. I would have beaten the game and I'm like, "Where's this hard boss that everybody hates? How come I didn't fight her?" Right? It's like,
Right.
but anyway, um, you know what? Great game. I loved running around and exploring things and finding things, and the not necessarily the graphics, but the art direction was wonderful. I do not consider this time wasted. Now, I cannot say for sure that I will start a new game with a different character type. Just because one, I'm sort of over it at this point, but I would like to go back maybe if there's no new games for a while after the next Destiny thing,
Go back to it.
go back and try a different build. I could certainly do a new game plus and like keep all my crap and play the same character. But, I ignored magic. I ignored archery. I ignored anything dexterity based, right? I played as a big dumb idiot with a club. Like, that's literally what I was. I was the big club boy. I would just hit things with my stick. I would unga bunga my way through everything. I just I just went to town. And it's
Oh, that's
viable,
great.
right? Like, you
Yeah.
just go super deep in a particular build, and I just hit things with my stick until they die. And there's also, so I I beat the game,
Okay.
right? I beat the game. But the way I beat the game, the true Elden dorks would tell you that I didn't beat it the right way
Of course, of course. You played it
because,
wrong. Yep.
well, so here's the thing. The whole thing about the game is the difficulty, right? The
Hmm.
bosses especially. And trust me, there were some bosses that made me say that that's enough video games for one day. There was a couple in particular that were really, really hard. But there's a concept in this game called summoning. And the idea is that you can summon not other players. I'm not talking about summoning another player to help you. You can summon basically an AI controlled something to come help you. And you will find different things that you can summon throughout the game. For instance, I had the ability to summon wolves. or I had the ability like to summon these guys with these shields, or some other NPCs that I either killed or found. They call them ashes. I found their ashes throughout the game.
Okay.
About halfway through the game, I got access to a very specific ash called the Mimic Tier. And the whole concept of the Mimic Tier is that unlike the other things that you summon that have their own hit points and their own attacks and all this other stuff, the Mimic Tier makes a copy of you. So whatever your hit points are,
Another Unga Bunga.
yeah, whatever weapon you're carrying, whatever's in your action bar, like they will do. So if I had a weapon equipped that had a special ability, it would use it. If I had healing items on my, my quick use bar, it would use them to heal himself, right? So it's literally cheating to have that, because you can of course level that up so they're a little more tanky as well. And what would happen is, like, I would run in, I would, you walk into the boss arena, you summon your I call my ringy dingy because you ring a little bell. It's adorable. He kind of spawns in, and then I run over and I smack the boss, and the boss goes ape shit and does its huge acrobatic lunge, sweep, tail swipe, fire breathing, whatever the fuck you're fighting. And I'm rolling around like an idiot, not trying to get hit, right?
Right.
And then my little tier boy comes over and hits him, and oh, now he has aggro, so I get a little bit of a breather, right? So I can collect myself and run over and smack him, and we sort of ping pong back and forth. Now there were plenty of fights where he died and I had to finish it myself, but it was game changer to have that level of support for some of the bosses. I don't know if I could have beaten the game without it, and I think people would call that a crutch. I call it using the tools that I was given.
Yeah, I mean, it's in the game.
It's in the game, right?
Yeah.
I would be very curious of Zach's opinion of that assessment,
Okay.
because I know that Zach adores this game.
Played it quite a bit. Yep.
Yep, and he still plays it from what I understand.
On and off. On and off. Yeah.
I take it he's going to be playing the new Destiny thing, right?
I asked him that today, and he said probably not.
Really?
Yeah.
That is surprising, because there is so much that's going to be changing in Destiny this coming week that I for one am extremely excited. It's going to be very synthwave and very cool. The Traveler finally shot at something.
Ooh.
Yeah, there's been a lot of good cinematics. I'm very excited for the new Destiny campaign.
Yeah,
Very excited for
I
it.
asked him, and he said probably not. So
Do you plan on going back to it anytime soon?
probably not. I say that, but who knows? Who knows, Drew? Who knows? Every once in a while, the call it gets me, and
Well, we're gonna get to your update here in a minute, but I was chatting with someone today who was talking about. There's really no nice way to say this. Like, there's not a lot going on PS5 right now, right? As far as first party like blockbuster games, is there?
yeah, not really. No.
I mean, we're gonna talk about PSVR 2 here, right? But I sort of plan my calendar around some of the bigger video game releases like Call of Duty and things like that. And this Destiny thing is launching this week, and not for nothing, I have friends that are planning on taking some time off to play it. I don't think I can, but it's big. It's a big thing, especially for a live service game like Destiny that's been around for, what is it, 10 years now?
Yeah,
Like,
a long time. Yeah,
crazy. That's eons in like game time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
for
that's
sure.
curious. So Zach doesn't think he's gonna play that.
Probably not. That's what he said. Probably not.
What's he into now then?
He's playing a lot of Apex Legends.
Oh,
Him and his friends are playing Red Dead Online. A lot of Red Dead Online.
they would be the only ones.
I think so. Yes. Yeah. What else? He's been playing. That's really about it. Yeah. But a little bit like Terraria every now and again. He always goes back to that.
Oh, Terraria is wonderful. Terraria is wonderful.
But, yeah, Apex. That's yeah.
But suffice to say that I really enjoyed Elden Ring, and like I said, now that I've beaten the game, I'm going back and I'm reading all the lore because I want to try to understand what the fuck I just played. Because it's somebody's fever dream with George R. R. Martin like jizzing dragons everywhere. But
I wonder how involved he actually was. Like,
So,
like they need to do just enough so they could put
hot
his name
take.
on it. But yeah,
Hot take. There are dragons in that game,
uh huh.
but if there weren't any dragons in that game, which I assume is George R.R. Martin's like reason for existing, it would have been fine. It would have been fine. It would have been a perfectly cromulent game without the dragons. And I think I only killed like 2 of the dragons.
See what
It's
did
fine. Like it was fine. He probably wrote it on WordStar or WordPerfect or whatever that program that he writes in DOS still or whatever.
we can get? See if we can get a good quote here. He wrote the history of what happened 5,000 years before the game, who all the characters were, who was killing each other, and what powers they had. That's a quote from Martin himself.
Okay. I take umbrage with a lot of things from him then because the story like I said, the story as you unravel into the game makes no fucking sense. Or maybe it does to other people. It did not make sense to me. And I've played D&D. I have played obtuse games where you have to unravel the plot yourself. And I just know that there were fingers. There were fingers.
Fingers.
I'm
Yes.
sure there were fingers. Title.
Oh,
Yeah. But I don't even know.
get this.
Okay,
He
I'm ready.
also said he didn't realize video games took so long to make. Ironic, coming from the writer taking over a decade to finish a book. There we
So
go.
I gotta come clean with you. I have never watched or read Game of Thrones.
Uh, I've done both. I've done both. I've read the books. I
But he's
enjoyed
like
the books. I
but he's
enjoyed
like
the
a
books.
but he's like a notorious procrastinator or something, right?
Yeah, like I don't think he's ever gonna finish it.
Oh, it's still not done.
Well, the it's not even supposed to be the last book. It's like the book that he was writing when Game of Thrones started on HBO. He's still writing.
Huh.
Yeah, yeah.
As
So
okay.
at this point, the book's gonna come out. I'm gonna be like, I ain't reading it because I have no idea what the hell is going on. Like I have no memory.
Do you think he'll ever do it? Or is it gonna be one of those things where it's like, it's coming, just hang in there?
I think it's gonna be one of those things where like he's gonna die. Because I mean, have you
Oh.
seen the man?
I know that he is a
Yeah.
jolly fellow and I think he has a
Yeah.
beard.
Yeah,
That's all
he's
that is all
yes.
I know.
Uh, and maybe someone will get the manuscript and try to finish it. I don't know. I don't know. I think he's lost interest, or who knows.
He had to have made his money.
Oh, I would think so. Yeah, yeah.
He probably doesn't really give a shit.
It probably doesn't really give a shit. No. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Did you
Yeah.
like Game of Thrones?
I mean, I had the same opinion as kind of like everybody else. It was the show. The show was good when they had books to base things off of, and after they got ahead of the books, the show got worse. And I also think Game of Thrones was also a victim of when they got purchased by AT&T, and like I think there was an executive like tapping his watch, going, "Let's wrap this shit up."
What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? Got purchased by AT&T?
That's what happened. Is HBO originally got purchased by AT&T, didn't they? And then they got sold to like Warner Brothers or some shit. So like,
I don't know.
yeah. So like, right during the time where like they were making Game of Thrones is when that acquisition happened, and that's when HBO started. Before like HBO Max was a thing, they started just like jettisoning cost and content, and I think Game of Thrones was a victim to that. They were like, just wrap this shit up. And I think the last 2 seasons were bad, but the last season was just awful. I hate watch that season. It was like, I'm gonna fucking finish this, but it was bad. And like it kind of leaves a bad taste in your mouth, because like if this was like roughly where the books are gonna go, then the books are also gonna be bad. But then again, like I don't know, like they started diverging, and it's fine. Like, you know, I'm not one of those people that say like, hey, when you take an existing, story and make it for television or a movie, you have to follow everything by the letter. Like that doesn't work. Like they're different mediums, you can do different things. Like, but writing a book is essentially free, where those dragons cost money to animate. I get it.
Yep. Yeah, the mind dragons don't cost anything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Uh,
Um,
so
not to deviate there too much, right? Just because we're talking about shows, and like I don't know, man. Like I never read any of the books, and I never watched any of the shows, and I know like people wouldn't shut up about it. Kind of the same way I don't shut up about The Wire, so like I get it. But um, speaking about that though, are you still all in on The Last of Us?
oh, it's so good, Drew.
Is it really good?
It's so good.
How many episodes
So
have been out now?
six, I think. Yeah, six. Yeah.
They're doing a good job.
Oh, they're doing a great job. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good. It's good. It's
I was
good.
just speaking of other media, I was just rewatching all of Mad Men.
I've never watched that.
Man, listen, The Wire will always be the show that I won't shut up about and I will tell everybody to watch, right?
Right.
But this is now my third watch through of Mad Men, and it's 5 seasons. It's probably less than 100 episodes total. God, I'm just trying to do the math in my head. So like 13. I want to say it's maybe 60 episodes. Right around in there if I had to guess. It's so good, Paul. The characters, the story arcs, and sometimes the difficulty of watching like the some of the scenes is just it's so good. It's so good. If you need a copy, I have digital versions that
Got
fell
it.
off the
Okay.
truck. So
Got it. Got it. I'm excited for Ted Lasso season 3.
oh, that's coming up, baby.
March
Yeah.
15th.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Um,
Looking forward to that. It also seems that like somehow, well, I think at some point YouTube recommended me like a clip from the show and I watched it, and now like that's my YouTube is all like Ted Lasso clips. It's just absolutely funny. I broke the algorithm.
yeah, we had someone staying with us for a while, and she had never watched Ted Lasso, so we got her into that. Now she's like all in. And I think we talked about this before. We don't have to rehash it again, but I think Jason Sudeikis said it's going to be 3 seasons, then that's it. So like
I
we're gonna
think
we're gonna
so,
get a bunch
yeah.
of closure. It sounds like.
Mhm. Yeah. I mean, it's got a good like the way season 2 ended. I think you got a good like hero villain like story to unwind
Nate.
there.
Fuck
Nate.
him.
Fuck Nate.
Fuck Nate.
You know what? Actually, I'm gonna. There's this. Hold on. Where's my history? Speaking of things I watched this really good video of analyzing like Nate's story arc
Uh-huh.
throughout the seasons and looking at that, and it was really good. I'll see if I can't find that video for the show notes. Here it is. I found it. Yay. Thank you, search and history. I'm gonna share this. I'm gonna copy. It's 15 minutes long. Yeah, but it's actually pretty good. There we go. There's a link. Okay.
Okay, let's see here. This is a YouTube video.
Yeah, it's a YouTube video. Yeah. It's basically this guy. He just talks about like looking at all the little scenes and how you can just like really diving into Nate's story arc throughout the whole season. So he's still a fucking jerk. But
Oh,
yeah,
sure.
yeah. But they kind of explain that. I think it talks. Yeah. It's good. It's good. If you're into the show, it's worth 15 minutes to watch. Plus,
Okay.
it kind of like reminds you what the story was from season 2. So it's also a good recap. But yeah, I'm excited for that.
All right. Man, that was a weird rabbit hole there for a minute. Okay, getting back to video games here for a minute. So you received your PSVR 2.
I did on Wednesday.
All right.
I got my PlayStation VR 2. I enjoy it with a huge caveat.
Okay, let's hear it.
Okay, so first of all, the hardware. Obviously I've played around with other like VR systems, but the one I spent the most time with was the PlayStation VR 1. It was fine. The controllers were awful. It was like looking through a screen door. You could count the pixels. So hardware wise, this is a huge step up. It's got basically a 4K display, OLED. It's a lot lighter. It's a lot more comfortable. The controllers are actually like modern. It's got eye tracking. It's got foveated rendering. It's got all the buzzwords. Yes, it has a cable, but whatever. I don't care. So the hardware is absolutely great. If I have 2 complaints about the hardware. First of all, so the controllers obviously they charge by USB-C, but you could buy this like $60-$50 like charging station that you can kind of put the controllers in, but like it's real finicky because essentially what the charging station does is it gives you little charging plugs that you put into the USB ports that provide like contacts, but you have to like line it up just right. And I've noticed like I get the right one in and then I go to put the left one in, but with my jimmying, I knock the right one out. It's
Oh
just
boy.
it's not a good design. Uh, the other thing is like when you get the PSVR like set up perfectly, get it into the quote unquote sweet spot, it is absolutely clear. It's sharp. It looks amazing. It can be a pain in the butt to get it into that sweet spot. It is a very, very narrow sweet spot. And
Yeah.
it can be kind of a pain in the butt, but it's worth it, right? It's got like, it adjusts and it's got a dial to, make the lenses farther apart so you can get them, just in the
Sure.
right spot. But it can be a giant pain in the butt. I have not spent as much time playing with it because I am still trying to get my VR legs under me. Uh,
You mentioned this before, right? You've
uh-huh.
always had a little bit of
Yeah.
an
Yes.
issue.
Yes. Uh, it's weird. So, I've played some Tentacular, where you play as a giant squid monster. I played that for like 30 minutes before it made me kind of ill. Uh, I've basically what I'm doing is like, hey, I play, and if I start feeling queasy, I just stop. I just stop. Everyone recommends like, hey, don't push through. Like it'll get better. You'll be able to do longer sessions. It's fine. Just if you start getting queasy, stop. Uh, I tried playing some of the flagship game Horizon Call of the Mountain. It's basically a climbing game, Drew, and
Oh
man,
no.
I have never felt so sick in my life. Like,
Ah.
like I'm just going through, and I get through the little intro where you're kind of just sitting and looking at stuff, and you get unleashed, and the first thing you have to do is like run across the dock and start climbing. And man, something about being that close to the scenery and like looking up and like grabbing stuff, man, I was just like, I'm gonna throw up right the hell now. So I've kind of stopped playing that. The games I've had the most luck with, I've played some of the Star Wars Tales from the Galaxy's Edge game. Uh, I had a good like 45-minute session with that. I used teleporting, so I didn't have to like move around and stuff. That was fine. But I've been playing a lot of Moss. Uh, Moss was like a PlayStation VR exclusive for the PlayStation 1. They kind of redid it. It's one of those games where it's not first person. You're kind of like looking into a diorama and you're controlling this cute little mouse creature. I had one session where like I lasted a whole hour and it was just absolutely great. I tried playing it again today, and after about like 25 minutes, I started getting queasy. Um, though I would tell you that so Moss is you using this. You're basically controlling this little mouse and you're fighting creatures and solving puzzles and doing some platforming. So like every little room is its own little puzzle. And I had this moment, Drew, and it was just you can't do this like this made me fall in love with VR
Okay.
just all over again. So I'm looking around this puzzle trying to figure out what to do. And obviously, like you're controlling this little mouse, and the mouse is maybe like 2.5, 3 inches tall. And I'm looking around, and I hear this little kind of coming down, and I look down, and the mouse is trying to get my attention.
Okay.
And when I look at it, it kind of like plays charades with me and kind of gives me a hint because it can't talk, right?
Right.
It's just
Mice can't
squeaking.
talk.
It's just
Yeah.
squeaking, and it's making little walking motions with its fingers, and it's pointing, and it's pointing at something else and
Like,
pointing
hey,
over
dummy.
here. Yeah, exactly. And it was just absolutely cute. It's like
Oh, that's adorable.
as it's getting my attention, it's waiting until I look at it, and then it's giving me a little hint. And when it was done, it wanted a high five. It wanted a high five from me, and it was just an absolutely magical
You made a
moment.
friend.
I made a friend.
Made a friend.
She's like, "Hey, dumbass, this is what you do." Yeah. So I'm enjoying my time with it. I'm hoping to get into more like active stuff after I get kind of my legs underneath me. Like I said, it is getting better, but like I'm really trying to say like, hey, as soon as I start feeling queasy, uh, I just kind of stop, take a break, and come back to it later. When I'm feeling, back to myself. But I said I had like that. I had a really good solid 1 hour session with Moss, and I felt great. So I think it's getting there. I'm getting there. So far so
So,
good. Two big thumbs up.
so a couple
I
a
like.
couple questions for you.
Mhm.
Like when you play, do you play sitting down or standing up?
Moss, I'm playing sitting down because it recommends it. The other games I played standing up. Yeah.
I My sweet spot for VR has been simulation games, so
Hmm.
driving games and like flying games. And I play those sitting down, where previously every game I ever played with VR was standing up.
Yeah.
Um, I have a real hard time with games where you need to teleport. I don't know, that seems to fuck me up more than just using like a little D-pad or analog stick to move around. I don't know.
Because they actually, I was looking into, I've watched some videos on how to like get your legs, and actually they recommend the opposite. They say a lot of more people like that they do better with the teleport because you're
Yeah.
not actually, you're not getting that movement. Like Call of the Mountain was all like thumbstick driven, and man, like I was going to vomit town. Oh,
Yeah.
but okay, so but I will say, like, the 15 minutes I spent with that game, oh my god, Drew, it is freaking beautiful. Like
Beautiful.
it's just absolutely amazing. You get, y- those robot dinosaurs look so good. Uh, it's it's got hand tracking, so like, as you move your fingers, you can see it on the screen, and uh
Well, I'm
yeah,
wondering, the reason I bring that up, I was wondering like if you were to sit on your couch with a game of like Gran Turismo or something where
yeah.
everything moves around you where you're
Mm-hmm.
not moving, right? I just
Yeah.
because I have heard that game is phenomenal in VR.
Yeah, I haven't bought that yet. That's one of those things where I'm kind of waiting for it because I'm, I like racing games, but I like my racing games like arcadey.
Yeah.
And this is more simulation, so it's one of those games like if it drops in price and I can get it on sale, I'll pick it up. But I'm not rushing out to get it right away. Uh, but like I said, I'm having a great time playing the games that I am playing. I'm kind of sticking with Moss right now because it does involve me sitting down and not having to move a lot.
Mhm.
So just trying to get uh train my brain to say VR good, not vomiting. And per recommendation, I've started playing with the fan blowing on me, and that does help a lot.
I hadn't heard about that. So that just helps with like the sense of movement then?
Yeah, so it gives you like a sense of like, hey, like the fan is always this direction because you can feel it there. And like a lot of people, some people, me included, when they start getting kind of motion sick, they get really hot and sweaty. And apparently they don't, no one understands why, but if you kind of like reduce that symptom, you also reduce the feeling.
Interesting.
So by keeping your body cooler, you're less likely to get motion sick. And I have noticed it does help a lot. So I have a big old fan. I turn it on, blow it right at me, and I go to town.
Blow
And
it right at you.
yeah, yeah.
Well, cool. How's the fit? I mean, I know you're a glasses wearer. Like, how's the fit?
So I wish I've got big old glasses, like big old thick glasses, and like the lens get really, really close to my glasses, and I could, if I'm not careful, I can smack into them. Uh, But compared to VR1, it's a lot more roomy, it's a lot more comfortable. It's lighter, it just fits better. It lets more air in. I think it's really comfortable once you kind of get it on right. Uh Again, like, it's not super obvious how to put it on. You kind of have to like I don't know, like you really have to like pull that back down and get it like almost like right at the bottom of where your hairline is. That's
Mhm.
really where it needs to lay. And like I said, like it can be a pain in the butt to kind of dial in that sweet spot to make sure everything is nice and crisp and not blurry. But man, once you do, man, whew, it's it's incredible. No screen door on this baby. Mm,
Man, that's cool.
yep, yep, yeah. So far, so good. I'm enjoying it. Uh, Gonna spend more time with it
Is there
tomorrow.
is there any upcoming games for it that you are excited about or anything?
I really haven't paid a whole lot of attention. I know they just announced a bunch more on the state of, like, they did a state of play. Uh, the rumor is that they're going to announce a lot more, like no one's going to E3, but everybody's doing their own kind of,
Yeah.
E3, like, so they have a bunch of stuff to come up to announce. Uh, I'm just hoping that I kind of get, like, my legs under me so I can, finish that Star Wars game and finish Horizon, and then, I'll just go through and I'll just, like, there's some other stuff on there and more titles will be coming. So yeah, I'm not hurting for entertainment, but then again, like, I'm really not like going like, oh, I can't wait for that to come out. Just enjoying it. It's nice being casual about something for once in my
Well,
life.
it's funny. It's funny. Before I started on my weekend project that we're going to talk about next, I actually plugged in my Quest because I really want to fire up some VR for myself tomorrow. Actually, I haven't played around with it in a while, and I want to get back to flying my jets.
Yeah, very nice, very nice.
Well, cool, buddy. I'm happy for you. So now
Yeah,
let's talk about my new
yeah.
things.
So what did you buy, Drew?
Yeah, so we talked about this a few shows ago. I had mentioned that I really wanted to redo a lot of the networking in my house. So I have finally, over the course of the last week, I was accumulating parts and pieces to do this.
Okay.
And as of yesterday, with one trip to Micro Center, I was able to get the final piece of the puzzle that I needed. So I spent today building out a network rack for my basement, and installing some network and telecom equipment to redo my network.
Okay.
Um, so the stated goal here is basically two things. One, I wanted to really clean up my whole section of my basement where this stuff was before. What I had a Metro cart in my basement, and if you're not familiar with what a Metro cart is, it's just basically a wireframe shelf on wheels
Okay.
with like some computers on it and just like a collection of Netgear switches that were like daisy chained together, and my Orbi base station and my security cameras and my Synology and just other shit, right? And for whatever reason, over the past month, my home internet has been god awfully bad. Like I was
Really?
trying, if I try to stream or I try to do anything, it just has not been good. And I honestly don't know if that's a function of the fact that Wide Open West, WoW got bought by somebody and they're awful.
Yeah.
Um, Oh, I don't know if you know this, but I guess fiber is really starting to make its way throughout the suburbs of Columbus. It's not in my neighborhood yet, but friend of the show Robert has it, and I know some
Hmm.
people who live in Powell, which is like one town over from me, that have
Yeah.
access to fiber
Like
now.
AT&T is pulling a lot of fiber, aren't they? That kind of, yeah.
AT&T is, I think they're snaking their way through Hilliard, which is south of me, but Frontier
Frontier.
has some fiber options in Delaware County. So it's making its way towards me. It's not at me yet, but I cannot wait to get my hands on that. Like some symmetrical up and down. Holy shit, that'd
Hmm.
be amazing. Anyway, so I've been wanting to clean a lot of this up, and I've also had it in my head that I we talked about this before, right? Like my house is just lousy with Wi-Fi devices,
Right. Yeah.
and if I were to look at my router, I have no idea what these devices are because a lot of times they don't identify by name. They just identify by some weird MAC address. And I really have no easy way to manage those devices. They're all on the same subnet, they're all talking to each other. I really wanted to get at least a managed switch in my house to where I can start carving out dedicated subnets or dedicated networks to Wi-Fi traffic versus wired traffic versus my security cameras. Like I wanted some segmentation in there for all that stuff. And you could spend as much as you want on this stuff, but I wanted to get into an ecosystem where I could do all that. So long story short, I've had my eye on some Unify gear from a company known as Ubiquity.
I'm
Um,
familiar. Yep.
yeah, and for years I bashed the fuck out of Ubiquity. I thought it was overpriced. I thought that you didn't need it for the home, even though it's sort of marketed to like that prosumer segment. Like you
Hmm.
could just as easily, like if you're a network or technology enthusiast, like you could just as easily do stuff in your house with this as you could at like a small office. I don't know how well it scales out for like doing an entire office building with this stuff. I'm sure you could, but there's probably more cost effective and supported options with like traditional vendors versus over something like this. But anyway, so I really wanted to get my hands on that. And the more I read about it, the more that someone made this analogy to me before, but it's basically the Apple of networking because they want you in what they call sort of the Unify system. So, Unify is basically a collection of products all rolled into one. So, there's Unify networking products, there's Unify Protect products, which are like security cameras, there's telephony, there's even like door and badge access control stuff in the family, right? So
Oh,
there's all these
wow.
different devices that sort of fill that stuff up. And you know, it's great if if you're always buying Ubiquity stuff, but they do not allow you to bring third party stuff to the table, which that really fucked me up here in a way that I'm not super happy about, but it's not going to make me like return anything.
Right. Okay.
So, just a quick inventory, right? So I have a cable modem, I have the Orbi wireless mesh system, and then I have a bunch of devices that are hardwired. So what I did is I bought the following devices
Okay.
from Ubiquity. So I'll just drop them in the show notes here. So the
Okay.
first one I
Okay.
bought is this thing called the Dream Machine Special Edition.
I have heard about this particular device. Yes.
Yeah. Now this is basically a router. You could basically think of it as a home router. It does routing and switching, and it is sort of the core component that not only makes up the backbone of your home network, but it also runs the Unify OS. And the Unify OS is the thing that basically you need to have if you want to control like your network.
Okay.
So that's what it runs. So this one device can be responsible for networking products. It can be dedicated to wireless access points. It can be dedicated to security cameras, or not dedicated. It can also work with security cameras. It can work with door controls and telephony and all that stuff. So, like, the thing I log into to control everything is basically this.
Okay.
And it's a layer 3 switch and router. So it also hands out IP addresses. It also handles devices talking to each. So that's the first thing I bought, and it's fantastic, right? It has 8 power over Ethernet ports. It has a WAN port for like your cable modem, and then it also has SFP like direct access connectors for chaining together switches or anything at like 10 gig.
Okay.
You'll also notice if you're looking at a picture of it that it has a hard drive bay.
Yes, I see that.
Yeah. And that's because if you want to use security cameras, you can record footage to it. And it
Okay.
supports like smart detection and like all the stuff that you get with any, you know, any like network cam. But yeah, it's very very nice. It's very well put together. The setup process was super easy, right? It was like you plug it in and it's like download an app, which okay, fine.
Of course.
And
Yeah.
then it connects to Bluetooth, it updates itself, and it's like, "Hey, I'm alive. Plug in your computer and your internet now, and like you're good to go." Like it like basically finished booting itself up and registering me as like a user with my Ubiquity account that I can like log into it. It has some really, really fantastic features to it, right? And again, if you're not a network nerd, you might not care about this, but basically, it gives you a really nice picture of like what are all the devices on your network, what are they all using. It keeps track of telemetry, so like I could tell you by client, by traffic type, like what it's doing. It gives me very easy ways to carve out networks. So I basically carved out 3 networks for my house. I have my wired network, which is like my, my home server, my Synology, my gaming PC, my Macs, um, the my security, like, well, not my security system, but like everything that's wired together is on its own little IP segment. And then I carved out an IP segment for any wireless device. So I basically plugged the Orbi satellite in access point mode into a port that I then said, "Hey, anything on this port, I want you to assign from this network." So like all my smart devices in my house and my iPhones and everything like that are now on separate IP address space, and I could set up rules about how traffic, flows between those networks if I even want it to, which is really cool. And then I carved out a separate network for my security cameras, right? So that they're all isolated on something, and I could have separate DNS settings for them. I can have all sorts of easy stuff, and like I'm not a networking guru, but it all makes like really nice, smart sense. And again, right, coming from the setup that I had, my Netgear Orbi was my router. So like I plugged my modem into my Orbi, and then I had like some switches hanging off of the Orbi. Well, now the Orbi is just acting as an access point. It literally just says, "Hey, I'm going to look to a router for whatever I'm plugged into for IP addressing, and I'm just going to like make it a thing that people can connect to, and I'll pass those connections on to whatever." And it works beautifully. Like it really
Cool.
messed me up at first, but it works beautifully. Um yeah, it's great. And it's so funny, right? Because I'm actually like clicking around in it right now, and there's 33 devices on my network right now.
Ooh.
Yeah. And like I spent after I had everything up and running today, like I went around and like a lot of things just identify as like MAC addresses. And I have no idea what
Right.
these are. So like I had to like walk around to all my devices and take out my iPhone and take a picture of like the MAC address. So I knew, oh, that was my Nest thermostat. Oh, that was this Roku upstairs. Oh, that was my one of my like six, lady in the tubes.
Right.
And I got really excited because like this thing said, what did it say? It said Linux PC was connected wirelessly, and I'm like, oh, who put a fucking rogue device on my network? Well, it turns out that one of my Alexa devices identified as a Red Hat PC. I don't I don't
Neat.
understand. I don't
Neat.
understand. But I
That's
went
interesting.
but
Okay.
I like labeled everything, and I can get a quick glance and see what's going on. It was very, very slick. It also offers built-in support for like what they call teleport, which is their kind of brand of VPN. So I can download an app and I can immediately like phone home from
That's
anywhere,
cool.
right? I can also run a VPN server right off of this thing. I could basically, if I click create new right now, like I can create a VPN server. I can specify the protocol, and it's like you're good, right? Because this thing is also the firewall. It is also the stuff that is restricting traffic inbound, right? So it's responsible for sort of everything, right? The firewall is there, and it's sort of like protecting. Um, yeah, no, it's it's really cool. It's really cool, and it's got very easy to use stuff. I'm very impressed with it. So that was like the first thing I bought, and like I'm all in it now, right? As soon as I got this
Right.
up and running, I'm like, this is cool. The interface is really nice. It's very clean. It's very easy to use. I'm very good with that, right? So the second thing I bought, just because I wanted expandability, is I bought a 24 port switch.
Okay.
So this is connected with an SFP connector to my Dream Machine, and I have per port control about like saying, the first four ports, anything I plug into that, I want it to be on this network, and these ports over here, I want to be on this network, and I want these ports to have power over Ethernet, and these ones not. Again, just it's a switch. It's a layer two switch. It's not anything crazy, but just like the Dream Machine, it's silent. It doesn't have fans. It just kind of sits there. It doesn't get super hot. It's very easy to control. It becomes, as soon as I plugged it in, it's like, hey, I found another unified, or I found another device. Do you want to adopt it? Because that's what they call it when you put it when you
Aw.
have a new device, you have to adopt it. So like you basically have it controlled on your network, and it's part of your stuff, and you plug it all in, and it's a switch. It's nothing to get too excited about other than it matches and it's cool looking and it's gray.
It's got a color touchscreen, it says.
Yes. So all of these devices, if you're looking at it head on,
Uh-huh.
and I don't know if you can like zoom in on it, but on the left
Yeah.
hand side, there's like a little LCD square.
Oh, okay. Yep, I see that.
Those are touch screens. So
Okay.
like if I were sitting in front of it right now and I wanted to see like what the current throughput on the switch is, like I could swipe left and it would just like it would show me a graph. or if I swiped up, I could get to like a restart button, right? Like there's different ways to touch, and it supports gestures and stuff. There's absolutely no need for it. There's no need because I control it all remotely, right? Like I don't need to go back there and like look at it. But if I'm in the neighborhood, I'm like, oh, that's pleasant. And it's got a little screensaver. It looks like a star field. It matters to somebody, and that somebody's me. Okay. It doesn't
Right.
they know what they're doing. But yeah, so those are kind of the core devices that I bought. Now, these are not designed to sit on a shelf somewhere. These are prosumer grade things that need to be rack mounted.
They need a rack.
I need a rack. So I bought a rack.
Okay.
I did a little research, and this is what I landed on.
Okay. This is the Echo Gear 20U. Wow, that's big. Open frame.
Not as
rack.
big as you think, actually. Not as big as you think.
Oh, yeah, I guess. Yeah, it's what does it say there? 35 inches tall. So that's what, like a little over 3 feet?
Yeah, about 3 feet, right? It comes up to about my tummy. Because I'm a short king, right? So it comes up to about my tummy. And then I bought, because it was an option, I had to buy those.
Ooh, okay. Do you plan on like rolling your rack around a lot?
So the answer is no, Paul, but let me tell you something.
Okay.
This sits in the unfinished part of my basement. And you know what's in the unfinished part of my basement?
No.
Spiders. You know where spiders like to go?
In your anywhere they want?
Anywhere they want, including under things.
Okay.
So a lot of things in my basement are on wheels, because when I want to clean, you know how wonderful it is to be able to wheel something out of the way?
Got it. Okay.
So yeah, make fun of me if you want, but don't knock it till you tried it. So that's the rack I bought, and it was relatively simple to put together. Now, I will say that what I did not realize about this rack is that go back and look at the rack, and I want you to tell me if you notice anything weird.
No, it's a rack. It's got those little holes where you bolt things.
Interesting. Tell me about the holes.
There's lots of holes. Lots of holes.
Uh-huh.
That's the holes are the point, right? Like you put things in and
you're getting warmer.
Okay. You also get some nice little shelves that also go into the holes.
Okay. Just look carefully at the holes.
Look at the holes. Okay. They're round.
They're round.
Okay.
They're round, Paul.
They're round.
You know what they're not?
What?
They're not square.
They're not square. Okay.
So they don't take cage nuts.
Oh, okay.
And guess what?
What?
All the stuff that I bought came with cage nuts.
So did you have to buy like hardware specifically for this then?
Okay, so that's the only regret that I have. So I should have done, the only thing I should have done different here is I should have bought a different rack. You'll notice that there are square holes on the left and right side. Like you're looking at it head on. Like if you're looking at the things that have the logos, you're looking at it head on.
Okay, yep.
It comes with screws that fit that front. So it gave me extra screws that I had plenty to do the shelf and enough to mount most of my gear. But I had to take off a couple things to mount all my gear because I didn't have enough screws that fit those screws. That part kind of sucked. Because like the Ubiquity gear came with cage nuts that are like those, basically they're like washers that clip on. And then, you put your thing up against it and then you put a screw through it and it sort of retains it on that. And trust me, I'm not worried about this thing like breaking or it not being able to support the weight. The screws are tight and they're in there and they're not going anywhere. But they are a weird shaped screw and they're a round hole. So that part of it is not great. I should have paid more attention and gotten a rack that had the cage nut like square holes on all the sides. And before anybody says anything, yes, I tried rotating it 90 degrees. The sides are not quite big enough and wide enough to support the gear. So it's like they're just not there. If I felt good about taking a Dremel tool to a $500 piece of network equipment, I might be able to make it work, but I'm not, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So that takes care
Okay.
of the mounting. The only other thing that I bought two other things. The
Okay.
other thing I bought is I needed something to power all of it.
Yeah, of course. Yes.
And I wanted something that, of course, would be rack mounted.
Yeah, top of the rack, right? Yeah.
Well, bottom of the rack. But
Okay.
here you go.
Okay.
This
Oh,
is
yeah.
and
Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't I
Yeah, it's
didn't need
power
to go.
supply. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a UPS and
Mhm.
surge protector. And I didn't need to go super crazy because the only thing I'm plugging into this are the Dream Machine, the Switch, my cable modem, and my Synology.
Okay.
That's it. That's the only things that live on this. And it's great. It's 100% great. It was not super expensive. It was heavy to try to install by myself.
I can see
I
that.
could have
Yes.
gotten something with a bigger battery. Like you could start seeing that the bigger battery boys get a little more
Oh,
expensive, but again, I just need something that if the power gets cut off, like my Synology's not going to die, like I can shut it down gracefully. I could probably what's nice about the Unify is it can detect not having internet and it can detect I think it could detect other like if that IFTT things that I could make it shut down. But anyway, I bought this, put it in the bottom of the rack, and it's working fantastic. And then finally, just for some cable management, I bought some of these. Putting that in there now. I don't know how to pronounce this name. I want you to give it a shot.
ooh, okay. Jing Changmi?
There you go.
Jing
Jing
Changmi.
Cheng Me.
Jing
Jing
Changmi.
Cheng Me.
Yeah, I've seen this kind of thing. Yeah, it's the little so it's the little fibery things you poke the cables into so you don't see them anymore.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
makes it look clean.
Yeah, so like when all the different cables are sort of like poking in and out of my rack, I just wanted something that could, wrangle them a little bit. And like my
Yeah.
my cable management journey is not 100% done yet. It is definitely not it's not done. Let me see if I can get you a picture. I did take some pictures earlier today. Um Let me see if I posted them in the Instagram of all places.
Another place I'm not.
Is it going to make me sign into Instagram? An unrecognized computer just logged in.
You're being hacked.
I'm hacked. Let me know if you can get to. I don't know if you can get to that. Damn it! Here, I'll just take a. I'll copy the picture.
Oh no, I can see it. I can see it. Yeah.
Can you?
Yeah.
So that's the rack before I turned anything on,
Okay. Yeah.
and it's got shelves, right? And I got stuff on it, and then after I got that going, here's kind of the finished product. This is a multi-picture one. Is it not going to let me do that? Here, I'll just text you a picture.
Okay. That works.
You can make it the show art if you want. I don't care. Let me go to my pictures because I took plenty of pictures to show Mandy about how proud I was, and she kind of liked it.
she humored you, is what you said.
Yeah,
Basically,
she loves me very much.
Oh, look, there's a picture of Rocky.
Yeah, there's lots of pictures of Rocky.
Oh, good boy.
So we're gonna click the Sharo as we call it, and then this is gonna go to Paul. So that is a front on picture of what we're dealing with, right? And I'm pretty pleased, right? And you can see where the Orbi is. You can see where like my Pi hole is and my cable modem and like the stuff all plugged in.
Very nice.
Yep, there's the Synology down there. So there's only one thing that did not work out the way that I wanted it.
Okay.
So I had read online, because remember, again, Ubiquiti wants you in the Ubiquiti family of products. But I had found something. I had found this. I'm gonna link it to you real quick here. This was a project that somebody made that basically set up a proxy server that made it so that if you had third-party cameras, they would work with this system. So the idea
Oh,
was you would
okay.
like spin up a Docker container for your cameras to connect to, and then it would like basically fool the Unify system into thinking that they were like Ubiquiti cameras.
Got it.
It does
Okay.
not work with
Oh.
the more recent versions because basically
Mm.
what they did is they took away the button that let you like generate a certificate or like a request that would let you
Ah.
do it in the OS. People have said that you could still like SSH in and do it, but I'm like I'm already out on this. So
Got it.
What I really wanted is the last piece of this puzzle is it'd have been nice if I could have just plugged my cameras directly into my Switch and basically use the built-in capabilities of my Dream Machine for the cameras. That's not gonna happen, so they're all plugged into my, like, my old system, which is, fine. It works fine. I have no complaints, but, like, if I wanna go completely in on this ecosystem, I would have to go replace my cameras with Unify cameras, basically, and they're like a minimum of $200 a camera.
Oof.
Yeah,
Oof.
and
Oof.
those aren't even the good ones, right?
Oof.
So it's on the table, but not right now because I have to
Got
go like I have to go take down my other cameras and like mount the new ones and like all this stuff, and it's just like nah, I'm good. The other thing that is kind of shitty right now is it'd be nice to see the different access points in my house. I mean, Ubiquity doesn't know, right? It just knows that there's an access point somewhere in my house that is connecting to wireless things, and like I I I could tell by the IP address range that it's on about what network it's on, right? And it identifies in my client list what network it's on. But if I were to go buy actual Ubiquity access points and put those in my house, I would have much better topology because it would like tell me which devices are connected to which thing and show it in a nice little network map. But
Got it. Got it.
that's more
Got
of a
it.
nice to have. But otherwise, I'm pretty happy with these purchases. I mean, it was a little pricey to do. My speed tests have been amazing. That real test is going to be like trying to do some streaming to see if reconfiguring all of this had any like net positive effect on my performance. But I definitely like the management and everything that has sort of gone into this. So it's been a fun little way to spend a Saturday. I hit a couple of little snags, like I said, getting my thing to go into access point mode. I should have done that first before I plugged everything in because at one point I think I had like three DHCP servers all fighting it out
Yeah.
between my Pi hole, this
Yeah.
switch, and my access point was all freaking out. My Pi hole, I basically had to just like blow it away because I couldn't get to it at all, and it was like a static IP, and it was like also trying to be a DHCP server, and it was just like, "Ugh, you're gonna get reformatted, bud."
Yeah.
So yeah, this device, like my Dream Machine, is now like serving DHCP on all my networks and taking care of everything. So it's really nice, and I really like the telemetry and everything that it shows.
Cool. Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So that's my new stuff.
Neat.
We didn't have any
Nerd.
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 We didn't have any candy though.
No candy. Candy. It was in London. At least mine was.
The only update I have from mine is that UPS will let me know when I have a
Yes.
delivery date.
Yes. That's what mine is. Shipper created a label. UPS does not have the package, but if I go into view details, shipment progress, label created in the United Kingdom.
Yeah.
So I guess our candy is on a boat.
I mean, or a plane.
I think if it was a plane, it'd be here by now.
I don't know. I mean, it depends, right? I mean, well, here's the
Yeah.
thing. I don't think UPS is as prevalent in London.
Right.
So I think like they print a label at the candy place,
Mhm.
and then they need to go take it somewhere. So they probably do a bunch and then take them somewhere. That's my hunch.
I want my candy, Drew. I want my candy.
I do too. I want it so bad. I want it so bad because I follow them on TikTok and it looks so tasty.
I'm getting their emails now. Apparently,
Yeah, I know, me
Apparently, they
too.
get a big shipment of pickles.
Those pickles are all over TikTok, by the way. I don't understand that phenomenon at all.
I'm also not on TikTok. There's a lot of things.
There's a lot of things you're not on. You're on Mastodon.
I'm
Has
on
anybody else
Mastodon.
signed up for our Mastodon server?
No,
Your
not
Mastodon
yet.
server?
But hey, if you want to sign up for a Mastodon server, doing their .best.
Yeah,
yeah.
it's me and Paul sometimes.
Yeah. Somehow. Hold on. I was just looking at this the other day. Hold on. Let me log into my dashboard. Somehow I'm already using 2.2 gigs of media.
How did you do that?
I don't know.
Oh boy.
I guess it's all my retooting.
All that retooting. Long live the toot, by the way. A big fan
Yep.
of that.
It's so good. Yep.
All right. Tell us where people can find us.
Drew's still on Twitter at Pitford.
Occasionally, just for John Kruger and
Oh.
Eric.
I'm on Mastodon at Paul at doing their .best. You can join us at doing their .best. Come get an account or just, I don't know. Mastodon's not scary. It's just,
It's
It's
different.
hard. It's hard to find people to follow because all the good tools are shut down
And
because
I'm
Twitter turned off their API access.
Yeah, and now they're
Yay!
making me turn off two-factor auth. I'm
Well,
at Pittsburgh at doing dot their best. Or no,
yes,
sorry,
yes, you are.
doing their dot
Dot
best.
best. Yes, yep. Yes, you are.
I am there.
You are there.
Paul enabled me to be there.
You're an admin too on the server, so you can
I
do
am?
stuff.
Watch this. I'm gonna piss off Eric Darling. Hold on.
You should be. Hold on, preferences. Yeah, if you go to the website, click on preferences, you should see like the moderation and wait, am I not logged on? Oh, hold on.
Oh,
I'm
look
logged
at
in
you.
as the show. Hold on. Nope. Log out.
There.
Log in. You can even set up two-factor because
We like that.
we like that. It's very good.
Yep.
Which
All right. I just annoyed Eric. I just sent him an invite link.
Oh, good. Join us, you cowards.
Yeah, cowards.
Yeah. So you should have all the tools that you need to, I don't know, go nuts.
Homepage, lab
Authy
podcast. Oh yeah, I was wondering how to do the tags on there. I don't. There's a lot about Mastodon I'm not comfortable with yet.
Yeah, it's like Twitter, just more nerdy. I would say. Yeah,
I agree with that.
There we go. Preferences. Yep, there's all the stuff. Yeah, so all the moderation and administration and yeah. Supposedly, like something I should do is like I guess there's lists of like Mastodon servers that are just absolutely toxic, and I should import like a list of like servers that I just block automatically. But
we're gatekeepers now.
Yeah, apparently. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't done it, so like I don't know.
I mean, if you want to come like get wild on our Mastodon server, like if I start seeing dicks everywhere, I mean, I won't ban you right away. I mean,
Exactly. It would take like a good 8 or 9 times.
there's got to be some pretty rotten dicks to get us to ban you.
Oh. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening.